we've got one more surprise in case this wasn't enough. I'm gonna let Elon do it. Who else is here?
Well, President Milei has a gift for me.
Javier Milei from Argentina. You guys know who that is, right? Why don't we bring him out?
Yeah. This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw! All right.
I love it. Mr. President, thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, sir. I love it. We love it. We love it.
All right.
They told me to put this.
Where should we put it?
They want it right here.
All right, great. What do you guys do?
Thanks, guys. Have a seat.
Good investment advice, perhaps. But just there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where do they come from? I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So, we're looking at if you look at say Treasury, for example, basic controls that should be in place. That are in place in any company, such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list, branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt. I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking because we spend a lot of money on defense.
Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of Viral. I'm your host as always, Kendra Dix here. Glad you join us here on Viral. We talk about the world according to Elon Musk. Yes, Elon Musk has been many people like to say Elon Musk has been a savior to them. Elon Musk has been a nuisance to them. Elon Musk is now the head of DOGE, meaning that he is the head of the Department of Government Wasteful Spending. He's trying to find cuts and corners to make sure the government gets back on track in his mind and on President Trump's mind, his boss, that Trump hired him to do so. Let's look and see what's going on with Elon Musk with DOGE and these effective spending cuts that he's trying to implement right here, right now. Watch this.
I wanted great people, and he's a great person.
On Fox News, President Donald Trump and his senior advisor Elon Musk defended their aggressive efforts to slash through the federal government.
All we're really trying to do here is restore the will of the people through the president.
He gets it done. He's a leader.
The interview aired hours after.
X, are you okay? This is X, and he's a great guy, high IQ. He's a high IQ individual.
And he's got this, check out this cool chain he's got.
So thank you very much. We had a busy day today. The king just left, and we've had a great discussion, terrific discussion concerning Gaza and everything else. We had discussions also about Saturday at 12 o'clock. It's going to be a big moment. We'll see what happens. I don't expect much happening with these people, but we'll see what happens. And we're going to be signing a very important deal today. It's Doge, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that we found, which are shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I said, we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. And we want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's a very serious, I think it's a very serious violation. I'll ask Elon. Go ahead.
Sure. So at a high level, if you say, what is the goal of Doge, and I think a significant part of this of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, are we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, X, we would have to, if you sorry. So, I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. If there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, or if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president and the Senate and the House, then we don't live in a democracy, we live in a bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the president, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large unelected bureaucracy. This is not to say that there are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that is responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy. And if you looked at if you looked at the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it's not. It does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And then we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt. I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking, because we spend a lot of money on defense. But if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
And also, could you mention some of the things?
Their investment advice, perhaps. But just there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So we're looking at say if you look at say Treasury, for example, basic controls that should be in place that are in place in any company such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation, can take up to a year to get on the list, and even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing. So what we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints. But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. I mean, these things, like, it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical, I think. It's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not, we should think about it. So, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's a case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately. I'll tell you another crazy thing. So, one of the things is, like, we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this. Obviously, there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, well, okay, let's, if people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told, no, the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this. So I think if we can take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else, and you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way. So anyway, so I think that's an example. At a high level, if you say, like, how do we increase prosperity? Is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles. And so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. Everyone's very quiet, by the way.
As you saw right there, Elon Musk and President Trump trying to outlay their vision for America on what they believe America was going to work for America. This is kind of a little bit tricky because a lot of people are not happy about it. Some people are losing their jobs. Some people even voted for the president and did not expect this. But like I said, what you get is what you get. What comes your way, comes your way. Sometimes you got to realize and wonder, did you make the best decision? A lot of voters are having voter remorse or buyer's remorse in that way, that some of them are not thinking clear on their decision, losing their jobs and what they're going to do to put food on the table and stuff like that. That's the weird part. Well, we say here, let's hear what you people had to say. You people had a lot to say here and now. Let's go to what the people say.
Said it to Donald Trump, or he overheard him talking about Donald Trump. He is definitely repeating what he is hearing. Kids are like parrots, 100%. Did y'all also hear him say once when Elon Musk was holding him? Dad says we quietly do whatever we want. I don't know y'all, but am I the only one who feel like I'm living in Twilight Zone? That kid reminds me of Dennis the Menace, and the fact that he says shut your mouth proves he has no manners. Y'all, I really can't believe Donald Trump is out here in a DV situation with a toddler. Donald Trump sat there for 30 minutes and did not try to interrupt or try to make the news conference about him. Elon definitely has something on Trump. And the people who was talking about, he was talking to the reporters behind Donald Trump. Are they the president? This kid go everywhere with Elon, like he a human shield. Doesn't he have other kids? Either Elon
houses. Stick around the toilet for a few minutes. That's all you need, just a few minutes. Y'all, I am weak laughing at Elon's son up there in that Oval Office showing out. Because that kid ain't said nothing he ain't already heard, y'all. Y'all want to know what's going on in people's houses?
Wants to send every American a $5,000 check is to ease the pain of the transition from social support to social slavery. So they want to give poor white America a $5,000 check because they're assuming poor white America is politically unintelligent enough to recognize that $5,000 one-time payment that Elon Musk wants to give you, that $5,000 one-time payment that Elon Musk wants to give you will be spent in a matter of weeks, if not days. Look at inflation in this country. The reason Elon Musk wants
taxpayers. My question is, for the ones who do not support this administration, who didn't vote for this administration, do you think you deserve $5,000 from the government that you don't like? I think you should just return to sender. That's just my personal opinion. What you guys think? So I've been hearing a lot about
things going on in the news. Elon Musk wants to give a stimmy of $5,000 to all U.S. citizens, right? Now, although this sounds amazing, because I'm pretty sure a lot of us can use an extra $5,000, whether that's $5,000 a month or however long they plan on giving it. What I do not agree with, and let's be clear here, just because you give us a little bit of money one time don't mean I'm gonna fuck with you. And that's a lot of y'all problem. Y'all get excited about the little shit. My bad, y'all, I've been eating. Y'all get excited about the little shit and just be like, oh, I'm pro them, pro. No, these people don't care about you. They trying to buy you. And then you also have to think about all good money ain't good money. Where did that money come from, right? All these budget cuts they're making, that's where the money is going to come from. These people losing their job, that's where it's going to come from. DEI programs, that's where it's going to come from. It's not just coming out of thin air. All these cuts that they are making that are affecting the everyday people, like the teachers, the farmers, everybody that's being affected, that is where this money will come from. Y'all need to wait. They literally is taking money from you to give it right back to you. The tax cut they making, they don't affect everyday people like me or you. I mean, I'm pretty sure the person watching this is an everyday person. Like, these people are really not doing stuff to affect us, and then they gonna try to penny pinch here, penny pinch there to give us our money back. y'all. And then Elon with this social security situation where apparently somebody who's over a couple of people, I think a couple million people over 140 years old, which nobody that old is living, is still getting social security. What's baffling about that is Trump, this is not your first term. Why is it y'all just now finding this? And why has no other president before this found this? You want to know why? Because the politicians and all of them that's already got the money, they are the people collecting them checks. Them checks is being passed out from generation to generation in their family. And that's why them checks going for so long. Y'all can't sit here and make me believe that these people be watching our every move when it comes to money, watching our bank account, the IRS watching us. They taking taxes out of everything. And y'all be sure to take that social security out of every paycheck. But y'all ain't paying attention to who y'all distributing the money to. I refuse to believe that. I'm sorry. I refuse to believe that in 2025, y'all just now realizing this was going on. No, you're not about to fool me with it. Okay, I'll take the money. I still don't fuck with you.
And you're going to find in the future $5,000. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Doge, obviously everybody knows they have saved the taxpayers billions of dollars, right? The tune of 50 billion. For they're suggesting in the near future, 20% of that goes to the taxpayers, which is $5,000. If you, file your taxes and you have your bank account on file, you'll automatically get that check. Now, there's a possibility. It's not something that it's on the table, but imagine you waking up finding $5,000, a stimulus check right now. You know how many people can really use that money? Hopefully it happens, because unfortunately, right now, we're in a direction going downwards. So the money needs to be pumped into the country for the people to, it helps out. $5,000 is something everybody can use, right? So hopefully this happens, because, but from what it looks like from all the news outlets, from Donald Trump, from Elon Musk, there's a big possibility that does happen. Hopefully it happens, because everybody can sure use $5,000 right now. Imagine waking up, checking your bank account.
In the mail, it sounds kind of good, right?
If you just replaced democracy with bureaucracy,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Big threat to the bureaucracy.
That's exactly right. Let's talk about these Doge dividend checks that everybody's talking about this week. And I know you tweeted out that you're does everybody want like a $5,000 check in the mail? It sounds kind of good, right? And the best part about it would be knowing where it came from. That's $5,000 that you sent them last year.
Totally. It's money that's taken away from things that are destructive to the country, and from organizations that hate you to you. That's awesome.
Does it seem? Have you talked?
That's like glorious. That's like
it's the best.
The spoils of battle,
I like that. Is there traction on that?
Yeah. So I talked to the president. He's supportive of that, and so it sounds like that's something we're going to do.
Yep.
So as we're finding savings, that's going to translate directly to reductions in tax. So.
Yeah. I think they fired 6,000 people at the IRS today.
Yeah.
And I think Lutnick said last night that they're talking about shutting down the IRS. I think it's fair. I think people should realize this is, the amount of money that we send Washington like $5 or $6 trillion a year. That is such an ungodly amount of money. What do they? They say like a trillion seconds is like 30 years or something like that. That's how much we send them, and they seem to never have enough. There must be a lot you can cut.
No, absolutely. People ask me, what's the most surprising thing that you've encountered when you go to D.C., when you're in D.C.? And I said, well, the most surprising thing is the scale of the expenditures, and actually how easy it is to, when you add caring and competence, where it was absent before, you can actually save billions of dollars, sometimes in an hour.
Yeah.
It's wild.
This is how Doge works in 60 seconds. So here we have John, and John is trying to figure out why he's broke every single month and his debt keep going up. And that's when his friend Elon Musk comes to us and says, hey, John, well, I saw that you had all these subscriptions. Did you realize you had Netflix and HBO and Amazon Prime and Hulu and ESPN Max? It's like, John, you probably should get rid of 4 of these just so you can save some money and get out of debt. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now for the American government, because we have $36 trillion in debt. We are paying for electronic vehicles in Vietnam. We're paying for millions of dollars of tourists in Egypt. We're even paying for comic books in Peru. And this is money that's being wasted. And so the government has asked me to step in and find out where can we cut back and save some money so that we can help our American taxpayers pay less. And yes, we're going to save a lot. Now, that's the good part. The bad part is this: tens of thousands of people unfortunately lost their jobs, and we cut some programs that may be useful. And so in the short term, we're going to save a lot of money. But in the long term, we don't know how that's going to affect us, but only time will tell. And that's how Doge works. It's a way for us to find ways to cut back our spending so we can save more and work on this $36 trillion in debt. And everybody should start doing this for themselves as well. Monitor your budget, see where you're wasting money, and start saving. This is how
a lot of you people had a lot to say. Some of you are not feeling it. Some of you are kind of mad, angry, frustrated. You name it. You feel like Elon Musk is not working for you. You feel like Elon Musk is working for himself, which some people are believing that Elon Musk is doing this for him because he has government contracts and he ain't counseling himself, but he's doing under the auspices of President Donald Trump that, hey, you got to do what we got to do to spend cuts. We've been voted here to do that, but they didn't do nothing with the price of eggs and all that stuff. So a lot of people are upset, angry, and frustrated about Elon Musk on what he's doing and how he's operating his business from Doge to cut down, trickle down the United States, back down to everything. He even sent a lot of this right here, telling folks that if they don't show up for work, they're fired. So I guess he's taking a playbook out of his boss from his days on The Apprentice, and we'll see that how that's going to implement going down the road. Well, thanks for watching this edition of Vow as we talk about the world according to Elon Musk. I've been your host, Kendra Dix, saying so long. We'll see you next time for another edition of Vow.